Tale of Two Hygienists presents this week's TIPisode. Quick and easy tips to keep you up to date and presented by the experts in the profession. Now, get ready for your unofficial TIPisode. This week brought to you by GC America.
Hello, listeners, and thank you for joining me on this week's TIPisode. As many of you know, it's been about a year and a half since I took my new role as hygiene director for my company. And here we are in December of 2021 at the end of another fiscal year. It's a time for reflection and a time for sharing. And I thought it might be nice for this TIPisode to talk a little bit about one of the aspects of my job, which is reviewing products and helping my team put things on the formulary that will help our patients, our clinicians, and of course the business. And I know I've spoken about some of these things in the past, but today I want to pull back the curtain just a little bit more and tell you about some recent meetings that we had regarding the process. But before I get into that, you need to understand one other aspect. The way that our company is broken down essentially has two main categories for the leadership teams: operations and support. We have the operations team, which is responsible for, the operation of the company. That team has a hand in just about every facet of the company and really looks at the numbers and makes sure that everyone is doing their part to ensure that we're generating enough revenue to keep us all employed. Then we have the support team. The support team is there to help the operations team be efficient, or like my role is to support the clinical teams in achieving patient-based outcomes. And there's a lot of crossover between the two categories. For instance, when we're looking at products that our clinicians prescribe for the patients, we need to make sure that the cost of the product makes sense compared to the resale rate, that we aren't creating a situation in which the office is losing money because of our poor decision making. But we also have to look and make sure that the product is doing what we need it to do from a provider standpoint, something the operations team might have less experience in. When I came to the company in 2020, there was already an established list of products for the patients, and same with the instruments and other tools and supplies is a great starting point. But it's our responsibility to listen to the clinicians' feedback on each of these and make changes. We had a meeting recently where we pulled out the formulary, and if you haven't heard that term before, it's simply a list of pre-approved items that the office can order. We try to keep the number of items in a particular category low so that it's easy to be consistent across all of the offices, but also ordering in bulk from one company reduces the price for us. So anyway, we pulled out the formulary to review the items on it. We wanted to clean it up a little bit to make sure it was less clutter for our offices so they can easily find things. As we reviewed each category, there are several things that we look at. And truthfully, the first one that we look at is the price per unit. The price needs to make sense. And if we have seen that other places get a lower price, we renegotiate that item. Next, we look at how easy is that item to use. There are plenty of great products out there that might take 2 or 3 extra steps, or it might make more time to use. And we live in a world where every minute counts. So it's an important factor. We look at the quality of the product. Will it last for a long time? Or will it have more clinical effectiveness than a competing brand? Those are some things that we look at. We also look at the name brand familiarity. Sometimes we pay a little more for the name brand unit of something because the clinical experiences or studies on that item have been solid for decades. And also we want to retain our employees, and giving them nice things will let them know that the company is investing in them and their happiness. We also discuss as a clinical team the things that are missing, things that we know that other clinicians are doing. We review new research and discuss the merits of each new idea or new product. So after we review the formulary, we make our recommendations to the procurement department. There are sometimes that we get involved in the pricing negotiations, but we try to respect the expertise of the department as much as we can. We are fortunate, however, at our company that there are several of us who know industry leaders who can help us out on getting great pricing from the start. And here's where I'll insert another tried and true piece of advice that we always give. You need to get out there and network. You need to meet people and ask questions and learn about their products. You're never going to know when that connection is going to come in handy. And I want to wrap this TIPisode up. I know that we're kind of keeping it a little bit shorter today, but I want to wrap this up with something I forgot to mention earlier. And one of the key things that we look at when we're evaluating products is if the company has a complete line of products, or at least several products in a category that we need. So for example, we have a whitening company. And our whitening is the same whether the patient is taking the prefab trays that have the strips in them, and they just take them home and use them, or if they get the custom trays made in office with the whitening syringes, or if they get the whitening in the chair. It's all the same company. It's just easier for us. And I bring this up because this is a sponsored TIPisode from GC America, and we have them in our formulary primarily because they check all the boxes that we have explained already on this TIPisode. They have a complete line for us, from the MI paste group to dry mouth gel. They have Triplaque gel, Fuji Triage EP for sealants. They have so many restorative products for our doctors. They also have great training and education programs for the whole team, which is another thing that we look at when we're doing our evaluations. while I know this was a little bit of a shorter one than I normally do, I hope it was informative. And especially if you are, like, I'm envisioning a hygienist working in the office and being like, man, like, who made these decisions for this instrument that I have in my hand, or who made the decision for, which sealant material or fluoride that we're using in our offices. I hope it makes a little bit more sense of the things that people are asking when they're making those decisions for your company or for your office. If you have any questions or any feedback for me, you can reach out to me, Andrew at ataleoftwohygienists.com. Be sure to check out the GC website to find out which materials you can add to your formulary. Their website is gcamerica.com. I hope you have a great weekend and be safe this holiday season.
Thanks for listening to another TIPisode, and thank you to GC America for sponsoring this week's episode. You can find out more about their great products at gcamerica.com. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button in your podcast app. Follow us on Facebook or Instagram, and head over to our website, ataleoftwohygienists.com, to sign up for our newsletter. And we always appreciate ratings and reviews. Thanks again for listening to your unofficial dental hygiene podcast.